Hello, and thank you for joining me. I am Marta Z, and I will be taking over the Electric Violin Shop's live stream today and talking about monetizing your music. I'd like to thank, of course, Electric Violin Shop for having me, especially Matt and Duncan for making this possible and organizing these live streams weekly with some really awesome information. So, again, I'm here to talk about monetizing music, just a tiny bit about me. I am a classically trained electric violinist, and I also do aerial acrobatics and dance at the same time while I play the violin. And I also enjoy writing and producing music. I also want to mention there is construction outside of my apartment, so if you hear any construction or drilling noise, bear with me. Hopefully, they will be taking a lunch break very soon. I'm also going to try to keep up with your comments. I'm gonna try to remember to leave some times for answering any of your questions you might have. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. This is a massive topic, so I'm gonna try to organize it into three main sections. So basically, I'd like to just share some tips that I've learned for building foundations to help you create passive income streams from your music. So let's look at three main areas that kind of look at the preparation of setting up these foundations. So first, let's talk about thinking about content and branding. Then the next section will be setting up your marketing. And then I will be talking about taking advantage of different monetization streams. So first of all, different content and branding. I think when you're trying to develop your content and your branding, you really should be basing that on the content that you're offering first, because I believe that branding kind of really depends on what content you're actually offering. Plus, different content might translate into different monetizing potentials. So I'm going to talk about my experience as a performer. Let's say I enjoy several different things. I enjoy putting out different type of content. So let's say one of the contents that I enjoy doing is following trends and playing along with someone else's music and posting it on social media. Now that might attract a quite large audience, but at the same time it might diminish my passive income potential due to copyright issues, right? So the other content that I might enjoy would be creating covers. Now it might be maybe slightly smaller audience, but I'm sharing monetization because there are copyright holders that I have to share monetization with, or even the content creators. For example, if I'm using somebody else's backing tracks that I have to share my revenue with. And I might also enjoy creating original content. Now, this might at first be for a smaller audience, but the monetizing potential with full ownership of my content is actually there. So again, in my experience, I try to produce a blend of content that addresses as wide audience as possible, and it also stays true to my brand or even my niche if I have that. So for example, if I'm following a trend, I would want for me to kind of put my own spin on it with my niche. So speaking of niches, speaking of branding, we hear these terms all the time, but they are actually important. So branding and niche. I think when developing your brands and your niches, we as musicians have so many options. And in fact, we can actually develop multiple brands with multiple subcategories of niches. So let's say what actually brand is. Brand is something that is unique, it is relevant, it's compelling about you. And your niche is the unique activity that you can provide through your brand, or the unique content that you can provide through your brand. So when I'm thinking about my brand name, it can reflect different things. It can reflect either me, my persona. It can reflect my artist name. but can also reflect the content that I provide and feature. So again, for example, me as a musician, I can develop several different brands that also represent several different income streams. So let's create three right here. So let's say my brand, my Marta Z brand, is me as a violin performer. And as I said earlier, some of my niches would be, I have a niche group basically, is me being a violin performer who also is an aerialist and a dancer. And the content that I provide would be pop covers or my own originals, right? So all of this output, all of this content actually relates to my brand as a performer. So my Marta Z followers would generally comprise of music lovers or performance art lovers. Specifically, it could be audience that loves electric violin, and it will also comprise mostly of or partially of musicians too, which means that I want to cater my content specifically to them. They expect my performance videos, whether it's live or produced music videos. They also might be interested in my output on my CDs or my merch. Again, it is a specific content that relates to me as a performer. One income stream done, right? Okay, but let's say I also teach. Let's say I enjoy teaching and it's something that we know usually teaching is an active income, but I would like to spill some of that over and create passive income as a teacher. It doesn't really relate to me as a performer, nothing to do with me as an acrobat. So I would want to create a new brand. And I would, let's say, call it Dr. Z because that's how my students would know me. And my niche would be posting, let's say, instructional videos, violin instructional videos for you. For YouTube or IGTV series, whatnot. And basically, I can develop further that niche. Let's say I would teach on electric violin, or I would teach in a specific genre or style. Again, I can just further develop that to kind of target my audience. The content, again, is very different from my Marta Z, which is a performing content. So I would not want to post my violin lessons on my Marta Z brand because that audience followed me for my performance output and they're not really probably interested in lessons, maybe a few of them. Plus, the algorithm knows what my audience likes and it will not recommend my teaching videos to them. So separating these two brands not only helps to retain my audience, but it can also derive a better revenue over time. I'm moving my hands a lot. All right, so again, just you're trying to make it easier to offer your audience the content that they seek, and you can also target your sales more specifically and successfully. Okay, so now I have two separate income streams, right? Two different brands with their own separate niches. And so I said three. It's okay. So let's say I also enjoy writing music. I enjoy composing, but some of the music that I write might not necessarily be featuring exclusively violin, and it might not even feature me. Let's say it's just original instrumental music, and I might not even want for it to be attached to my persona or to my name in any way. So I can create a new brand and I can call it something maybe a little bit more generic, say instrumental collective, right? Might also want to maybe use some words that might trigger the algorithm a little bit as well. And that brand name is now specifically reflecting my content, not so much my person, which can have some really great advantages because now you can shift your focus from social media or from yourself to actually just generating revenue from music streaming, music publishing, or licensing opportunities that, again, don't rely on social media or my persona. Basically, I'm putting music out there anonymously and just letting the music speak for itself without me being attached to it anyway. And it is my third income stream, a potential income stream that I, again, can offer different kind of content through. So, kind of to summarize what I've been talking about with content and branding, I would say overall there are some do's and maybe some don'ts. So, when you are thinking about developing your brand, consider the big picture for your brand, because if your brand is actually too big, if you're including all of the things that you enjoy as a musician within one brand, it might be too much. You might be squeezing everything into just one income stream, and you might not be really helping yourself to generate maximum income potential. Also, think about the type of content that you're creating and how that content will be monetized, because like I said, if you enjoy to play over somebody else's music, you might not be able to derive monetization from that directly. If you're doing cover, you're sharing that monetization. If you're writing and performing your own music, there's a quite large potential because all of that monetization goes straight to you. And then also, when you're building your brand, you want for it to be something recognizable, something memorable, and uniquely relate to you and your passion, because it's really important. This is something, passive income is something that doesn't happen overnight. It's something that you build slowly. So if you're passionate about it, it really helps, because I know a lot of people experience burnout. So again, you want to really enjoy what you're doing, and if you're developing several brands, it's nice to be sometimes able to flow from one to another. So again, you don't burn out. And then of course, you hear this, I'm sure, all the time: be consistent with your releases. We live in the algorithm world. You have to feed that algorithm monster. So I would say the don'ts with brands and content would be: don't mix multiple brands and multiple niches on the same account or on the same social media or channel. You really want to give your audience the choice of what content they actually want to follow, without alienating them or without force feeding them something that they might not necessarily be interested in watching. And then you could also disrupt the algorithm, which is actually designed to work for you. And if you're like me, I love following analytics and see how the content that I put out there, how it performs. So if you have everything separately, you can really compare how the analytics work, and how your content and your brand is performing separately. Okay, I haven't been paying attention to your comments. Let me see if you guys have any questions. I also have it here. Yeah, if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will just keep rolling along. Okay, so the next big area that I would like to talk about and give you some tips is setting up your marketing. I think it's very important, once you have kind of thought about your brand and once you know which direction or directions you might be going, have a strong online presence. Number one, have a good website. They are fairly easy to build yourselves now. There are many different softwares and programs that you can do drop and drag. So have a website. If you're a performer, you want to have your audio, your video reel on it, maybe your press kits, any promo material, maybe even a vlog or blog, but more specifically, have your shop on it. Anything that you have to offer, anything that your audience or your followers might be or would be interested in, put it in that shop. So if you're, again, performer, this is physical or digital CDs, maybe some merch, even autographed photos. If you're teaching, you might want to put instructional material for teaching up there. Or if you're even designing your own books or using somebody else's books, all of that can be monetized. Or if you're created some kind of presets for your online content and you think your audience might be interested in purchasing those, post them, put them in your shop on your website. The reason why is because most media pages, most accounts now have shops built in them. Your Instagram business account, your Facebook page, your YouTube, they all have the option for you to set up your shop directly either from your posts, or they will show up straight up on your page. So your audience is now just one click away from being redirected to your website, to that shop, and you can offer them whatever they might be interested in. When it comes to Instagram Reels, there isn't really any monetizing option yet, but they have said that in the near future there will be offering bonuses for content. So that's perhaps something to keep an eye on if you're interested in that. When it comes to TikTok, I don't think you can monetize yet, but you can lock in some branding deals or some sponsorships through TikTok. I would also recommend setting up membership-based platforms, for example, like Patreon. Patreon is a monthly subscription where you can post content that you're already creating. You don't have to create anything special extra for Patreon. So it can be, for example, behind the scenes or any digital downloads you might have, even of unreleased music, or early access to videos or premieres. Basically, you set up these rewards as tiers, and you let your Patreons or your followers, your supporters, to choose which tiers, which rewards they would like to have, and how they want to support you on a monthly basis. Excuse me. And then, of course, YouTube. That's another marketing setup that you can work on. If you don't have enough followers yet, it's something to work up to so that you can qualify for monetization. And in order to get monetization from YouTube, you need Google AdSense. This is also something that you will need to apply for if you haven't yet. I would say do it as soon as possible, because AdSense is the only way that you're going to get paid for your ad placement on your YouTube channel. It does take some time. There are eligibility requirements. So I would just say go to their website, Google AdSense, AdSense. Go to their website and see what their requirements are. I would say in general, that site is actually a great resource for kind of getting a good idea for your business setup anyways. And once you have those, once you meet those requirements, like I said, it takes a little bit to actually get set up. They have to make sure you're a real person, and a PIN will be actually mailed to your physical address that you enter into your account. They might even need to verify your bank. So get that rolling as soon as you can. And you don't have to wait to make the requirement on YouTube. You might already be selling ads or showing ads on your website or your vlog or anything else. So look into that, because if you start going viral, let's say on YouTube, or you're making big waves and you're still waiting to be approved on AdSense, you can potentially be depriving yourself of literally thousands of dollars while you're waiting to be approved. So again, get that done as soon as you can. Okay, so that's setting up for marketing, basically, generally speaking, for your video content. So let's also talk about releasing audio content. This will be your singles or your album releases. This is a huge topic on its own. This is something that I would say I mostly focus my attention on, so I could talk about it for hours. So I'm just gonna kind of skim the surface here. Basically, we no longer live in the time where we could be releasing an album every 3 years or maybe even once a year. You, just like with social media, where if you're going to be successful, you have to be consistent with your releases and frequent with your releases. That same applies for audio. Again, you have to feed the algo monster. The algorithm is there to help you as long as you know how to take advantage of it. So again, the reality now, streaming has changed the way we release music now. Not only is music getting shorter itself, the songs are getting shorter as a format, but also the frequency between releases are becoming shorter. My recommendation would be you should be releasing music every 6 weeks. Whether this is original or covers doesn't matter. Usually singles are better released than albums now, but you can definitely build up to that, and I can talk a little bit more about that if you guys have questions about releasing your music. So when you are submitting your music to your distributor, this can be CD Baby, TuneCore, or DistroKid. Make sure you also do that way ahead of time. I would say give it at least 1 month. Submit your music to your distributor at least 1 month before your actual release date. I would say maybe even 2 months. The reason why for this is that there's actually a processing period that happens when you submit your music. It goes to your distributor. They have to process it. They usually have to make sure everything's okay with your single or with your album. And then it takes time for them to send it to the actual store, like Apple or Spotify, Pandora, whatnot. And then also it takes additional time for that music to make it to the potential playlist editor. Every store treats it slightly differently. Pandora is still a curated music platform, which means that they actually select what music is chosen for Pandora. So again, it takes longer. It takes a little bit longer for that music to appear there. Then also playlist editors. Like I say, they need time to hear your music. You should always be submitting for Spotify editorial playlist. You pitch your music at least 1 week prior to its release. Again, I would say give it a little bit extra time. Those editors hear a lot of music on a weekly basis. So if you give it 2 weeks prior to your release, you have a little bit more chance that your music will actually be heard by an editor. And not only are you getting a chance to be playlisted, but automatically when you pitch your song for a playlist on Spotify, you will be added to the release radar. So the week of your release, the release radar is every Friday. Automatically you're added to that release radar when you pitch your music, which means that your followers are not notified now that your music is being released. On Friday, they get a notification, whether it's email or whatever their subscription preferences are, and they are notified that music is coming up. Okay, so I mentioned that it's good to release singles. If you're releasing frequently, let's say once a month or every 6 weeks, it might be a little too much to try to push an album through that frequently. So releasing singles is a really great idea, and you can do that even with an album. This is called waterfalling technique, where you actually release one single and then 6 weeks later you release a second single, or you bundle it with a previous single. So now it's actually kind of like an EP, but you name the second EP after the second single that you're releasing. And slowly you can just keep bundling up these singles and gradually into the actual final album. And the album can include several unreleased singles before that. But basically what you're doing when you're waterfalling, you're feeding that algorithm. You're letting it know that you are continuously releasing. You're also giving yourself chance to pitch for your playlist. And you're also giving opportunity for your audience engagement, because now you're releasing regularly and you're building up interest and you're building up excitement because there is maybe an album coming out, right? At the end of all of these waterfalling releases. Also, when you're releasing, release worldwide. Don't just limit yourself to the country that you live in. You never know where your fans will come from. You might be very popular, I don't know, in Russia or in Japan. So do release through your distributor worldwide. You can also, and you should also, when you're releasing, use websites like Bandcamp. That's a great service. You can actually release immediately. It takes literally 5 minutes to release your album on it. You input all of the information, you download your tracks, your digital art. Even if you have bonus tracks, you can include that on that. And you can set your custom pricing for both physical or digital releases, which is great because you can actually even offer for your audience to pay more if they want to. And you'd be surprised. A lot of your fans will actually be very happy to support you and pay a little bit extra for the asking price for your releases or even for your merch. Okay, and then of course, like I mentioned if before, you have that shop set up in your website. So now when you're releasing your music, you are putting it on your shop, on your website, your CDs, your digital downloads, whatever it is. You can try to draw your audience to buy directly from you by maybe even offering extra perks. Like I said, you can add extra digital art as a bonus or put a bonus track, anything that attracts your audience to want to support you directly. And of course, that way you're also keeping more of the revenue yourself, because you're not sharing that revenue, let's say with Apple Music or Spotify. So again, just kind of throwing your nest as wide as possible. When you are creating your content, also you want to kind of take, or I want to take the same approach. So spreading the net wide, meaning my content can be either covers, where again there's some sharing for monetization. I have to pay for the song licensing fees for the copyright holders. If I'm using somebody else's backing track, I have to pay licensing fees for that, right? Again, covers will usually attract a larger audience, which is great. But if I also have my originals, from that I can keep most, if not all, of my revenue. And hopefully, if my originals are good enough, then the audience from my covers will spill over into my originals and they will be interested in both. And it's usually good, again, when you're releasing that content, to sprinkle it out, do a couple covers, put an original in there here and there. So basically, that is all for marketing setup. I'm going to go into the last category, which is figuring out, setting up your monetizing streams. So since I was just talking about releasing music, let's talk about royalties. As a musician, as a recording artist, you can collect many different types of royalties. So this is really important that you set yourself up and you understand where all these different royalties are coming from. The royalties that you're going to be getting already directly when you distribute music is through your distributor. So your CD Baby, your TuneCore, your DistroKid, whatever you're using, those royalties are paid to you by them, and those are your streaming royalties from streaming platforms, say like again Apple Music, Spotify, and also your active radio plays. Okay, many of those distribution companies also offer for you to opt in into publishing administration. That is for a different type of royalties. This is separate from your streaming royalties. So I would say go for it. I would say opt in for those publishing and administration services, because they will collect portion of your publishing royalties for you. This is the mechanical portion of your royalties. There's usually a one-time fee. I believe TuneCore has a one-time fee, plus they take a percentage of your royalties, but they collect all of this for you. You don't have to worry about it. CD Baby, I think you actually can decide on utilizing the publishing admin for each of your releases. So you can either opt in, opt out. It's again one-time fee for each release. And again, they collect these mechanical royalties for you. Okay, so we have streaming royalties, we have mechanical royalties. There's also different type of publishing royalties. These are called performance royalties. And these are collected by your PROs, which is your performing rights organization, or PRS, maybe if you live in a different country than the US, performing rights societies. And these are basically music rights managements like ASCAP or BMI, and they collect writing and publishing royalties. This especially applies to if you're writing original music, as you should, releasing. And basically, as a artist who releases original music, you are not only the writer, but you can also be your own publisher. And these performance royalties get split 50 and 50. You get 50% as a writer and 50% as a publisher. So I would recommend when you're registering with your PRO, register both as a writer and register a separate account as a publisher. And again, this is because you as a writer, you own your master recording, but you also own the song itself as a publisher. So make sure you're collecting both of those, because if you don't claim them, you're not going to get paid. That money is just going to be sitting there untouched. So make sure that you understand how to collect all these different publishing revenues. Okay, and then there's another service that also collects your non-interactive digital radio plays. This is Sound Exchange and I believe Song Trust. So this would be also services to register with. Again, the registration process is fairly straightforward and they collect these kind of royalties for you. So in summary, for royalties, you have streaming royalties that are paid out by your distributor. Your mechanical royalties can also be collected by your distributor if you opt in for that publishing administration service. And then you have your performance royalties from through your PROs or PRSs. And this is both as a writer and a publisher, unless you have a publishing deal, of course, with a company. And then your non-interactive plays through Sound Exchange or Song Trust. Okay, so that's as far as we go for royalties. I also wanted to give you some tips on boosting your monetization. So let's say you already have all this set up, you have all these different income streams, you can further boost those too. I've already talked about playlist pitching. This is a great way to not only boost your following, your audience, but of course to also boost your income. So Spotify editorial playlists and the weekly radar release are very important. If you can pitch your song, not only are you getting, again, the chance to be on a playlist, but you will for sure be included on the release radar and all of your followers will be notified. So it helps with your marketing, helps with your promotion. Pandora also has a really great feature. You can feature your track for about, I think it's 8 weeks, and you can actually feature every single track on your album. With Spotify, it's a little bit different. When you release an album, you can only feature one track from that or one song from that album. With Pandora, they treat this a little bit differently. You can, over time, keep featuring each track from your album, or as you're continuously releasing your singles, you can put that on a rotation and continuously feature your single. Again, this lasts for 8 weeks. And it is guaranteed they boost your plays. You will be exposed to more audience. They will add the algorithm adds your songs to existing playlists. It's a really great way to boost your streaming or your income ultimately. Okay, I would also say there are a lot of services that kind of guarantee a playlist placement. I would say most of them are usually scam. I don't really think there is a way where you can pay to be on a playlist. These are basically usually services that are already built into your stores like Spotify or Pandora. So utilize those. I wouldn't pay somebody else because I don't really think they have control over that. So utilize the services that are already there, built in for free for you. In those platforms like Spotify or Pandora. Okay, another way to boost your income or your monetization would be licensing your music. You can do this with your covers or especially with your originals. You can license your music. Some distribution companies offer the licensing placement like TuneCore and CD Baby. And actually, the better you start doing, the better your music starts performing. You might receive a more customized placement opportunities. I know TuneCore does this for sure, where you can actually pitch your song specifically for licensing through your distributor. You can also register with independent licensing companies and pitch your songs directly through them for commercials, TV or film or video games placement. Basically, there's many of those. I would recommend just do a Google search for music licensing companies and see, which ones, or you can use one or multiple ones would work well for you. I would recommend when you're submitting your song for licensing, have multiple versions prepared of that song because you're more likely to receive that licensing deal if you have several versions. Like if it's for a film or for a commercial, they might need to alter your track a little bit to fit it within their content. So if you can have, of course, the original version of your song, maybe have a remix version, maybe have one just with backing tracks without the solo part, whether it's your instrument or your vocals, have all of those different versions because they might need to be chopping up your music or manipulating it to make it work for their placement. So have multiple different versions available for your licensing. Okay, another way to boost your monetization is through YouTube monetization. Of course, there's a requirement. You have to have 1,000 followers and you have to have 4,000 viewed hours in the last 12 months in order to monetize from ad placement. Again, this is AdSense, Google AdSense that I was talking about before. In order to get paid for those ads that have been placed on your YouTube channel, you have to qualify for AdSense. It is, like I said before, it is possible to qualify for AdSense before you qualify for YouTube monetization. For example, you can set up a blog on your website or anything on your website, and you can place ads on your website, which automatically already puts you in the Google AdSense system. The Google AdSense revenue, basically, like I said, is ad-based, advertisement-based, and you get to choose what types of ads and where they appear on your channel, on your website. You can sort of customize them. You can at least kind of like select what you don't want and what you want to present, what kind of ads are more suitable for your channel or for your website. Losing my voice, probably talking too fast. Okay, so let's say now you have been approved, right? Excuse me, for monetization on YouTube. You can also boost your monetizing through affiliate marketing. So let's say you have finally your following, maybe you're going viral. Woohoo! Now it's time to look into affiliate marketing. So affiliate programs or affiliate marketing programs provide you with unique commission-based links for their products. There's a application approval process, and you want to make sure that you do this once you have a pretty decent following and once you can show that you drive some traffic through your site, whether again that's your website or your YouTube or whatever other means you might be using for affiliate marketing. You want to make sure that you already can show that you drive some kind of traffic through. So don't rush to do this right away, but do your research, be familiar with how affiliate marketing is working. So some of the affiliate marketing programs that I've been using are Amazon Associates, Sovereign, ShareSale, or CJ Affiliates. Again, there's many of those. You can Google search and see if you can find any that work for you. There are some prerequisites. Amazon Associates is actually fairly easy to apply for. You just have to complete 3 qualifying sales, I think within the first 3 months, which is not too hard to do. And then after that, you're set. Just a little tip. Most of the applications are very similar, but they can be a little bit lengthy. So I would say any input, any information that you're putting into those applications, just save them so you can later copy and paste them because most of the applications are, again, similar. You'll save yourself some time. They will ask you basically about your business and how you're planning on marketing those products that you will be linking in your sites. So now you're approved for affiliate marketing. Woohoo! When you do that, when you're finally there and you have good following, you may be going even viral, now it's time for you to choose what products you will actually promote through your brand. So I would say it's really important that this is something relatable. It stays close and true to what you're doing to your brand. So for example, me as a performer, I would link up my instruments or the accessories that I might be using, like my shoulder rest or my strings, any products that I actually use and my audience can relate to because they see me using that. So even a studio gear or my gig gear, any software that I might be using for recording my CDs or my albums, my singles, or even any clothing that they see me wear, any styling or beauty products. Basically all of those, as long as they relate to you and you believe in the product, you know it's a good product, I would say just stick to those, to recommend those. Stay true to you, to your brand, through the products that you're recommending to your audience. And then you can also recommend music platform subscriptions like Spotify or Apple Music. Let's say your fans would love to stream your music on Apple Music or Spotify Premium and they don't have them. Well, you can offer them that link. They say, oh, here, use this link to subscribe to those services, and you get a portion of that sales when they actually complete it, when they subscribe. So with affiliate marketing, basically the world is kind of your oyster. You can select many different products. You can again categorize them into those different brands that you established, right? So maybe some products are a little bit better for your audience here, some for your audience here. Just pay attention to what your audience is interested in. They will let you know. They will let you know what they're interested in. Like, for example, I get so many requests asking where did I get the sunglasses that I wear in my music videos, So pay attention to that and make sure that your affiliate products are there, and you let your audience know where to find them, how to use them, make sure it's on your website, make sure it's on your channels, that those links are easily accessible, and that you also talk about them, you're promoting this. Excuse me, as well. Basically, affiliate marketing can be kind of a great symbiotic relationship between you and your audience or your followers, because most of your audience really enjoys knowing that they are supporting you while they're actually acquiring something for themselves that they also enjoy. So as your following grows, so will your affiliate marketing, your affiliate revenue. Again, it's another great way to gain passive income. And then share those affiliate links the same way you would share your own other products. It's your website, your vlog, your stories, your IGTV, whatnot. Okay, so I know I just threw tons of stuff at you guys. Passive income, of course, doesn't happen overnight. It's just little baby steps of building. And it's okay if at the beginning you really don't have a clear idea of what your brand or what your niches will look like, or you don't even know what your goal will be. That's completely okay. You don't have to be clear on all of it right away at first. It doesn't have to be perfectly chiseled from the start. You can kind of discover your angle or kind of your big picture as you go, as you're learning over time. And that's, for me, always kind of actually fun part of the process, is discovering where is it gonna lead me. I started as a violinist and now I'm hanging upside down, doing things that are very appealing and niche to my audience. So just start somewhere, do a little bit, maybe categorize at first, and you definitely, when you're working, when you're preparing, when you're building all of this groundwork, you want to focus on kind of creating the most efficient output with the least amount of effort, and try to repurpose everything that you do, everything that you produce or create. So what do I mean by that? For example, when I have to learn, or when I want to learn a new song on the violin, I'm learning it always in my home recording studio. I am recording it as I'm learning it. by the time I learned the song, not only have I have a song that I learned, but I also have a recorded single ready. So now maybe it's a rough recording, but maybe I can offer it to my Patreon followers. Hey, here's this digital release that I have for you guys. Or you can take a little bit of time to do some simple mixing and mastering, and now you actually have a single ready for release while you were learning this song. So multi-purpose, utilize, again, try to produce more without putting too much effort into it, because it is a lot of work. We musicians work very, very hard. So also when I record, when I perform, if it's a live show, any kind of gig, if it's a private event, I make sure it's okay with the client, but I record everything on video, everything I do, everything, even if it's a sound check. Sometimes even when I'm practicing at home, I will record it, because you never know when it might come in handy, and you have this extra content that you can be using. For example, for me, during the pandemic, stuck here at home, I decided to put up balcony concerts for my neighbors, right? It was actually a birthday present for my mom initially. I wanted to just make one video with one song, post it on Facebook. Happy birthday, Mom. Sorry, I can't see you. We're stuck. So yeah, I posted this one video, and I kept doing these concerts for my neighbors here, sometimes like on weekly, eventually on monthly basis. So and I always recorded it. I had all this material. I post one video on Facebook, it went viral. I was able to monetize from that a little bit. I also posted it on YouTube, nothing happened. Year later, literally last month, that video went viral on YouTube, so I was able to monetize it. Now I have all these other videos that I recorded from all the performances that I did here. I can slice them up, chop them up into songs, and release them to now very engaged audience that's expecting me to post more balcony concerts, because that's what they subscribe to. That's why they follow me as a performer. So now I have all this extra content already ready to just be released maybe once or twice a week. I can be very consistent with it. So that's a really great way to, again, utilize something that you've already done and repurpose it for additional income. Okay, I have some comments here. For affiliate marketing, we need to make it clear that they are referral links somewhere on the page, right? Yes, for affiliate marketing, those are links that basically, if you want to, let's say you want to you want to promote a specific product, you go through the affiliate marketing program, you find that product, and the program creates a link for you, and you use that link and you post it on your page, or post it on your website, or on your YouTube page in your description. What portion of your income is passive income? Well, right now, since for my personal situation, I'm still not able to perform because I'm recovering from a long-term illness. Right now, my passive income is, I would say, about 90%. When I'm performing, it is about, I would say, 75% of my overall income. I've been working on this for several years, and I've been able to establish my passive income where it is actually my major income. So my gigs, my active income, are kind of like my side gig now. I usually just I would do 2 gigs a month maybe, and just kind of choose and pick which gigs I want to do, which active income I want to choose. So majority of my income is passive income now. I know what affiliate marketing is. I'm wondering about requirements to disclose that you are using it. I don't believe there are any requirements, but I believe that transparency is a kind of good policy overall. The links themselves look slightly different. You can choose how the link looks, but I think being transparent with your audience is really important. You don't have to disclose it, I don't believe, but I think I would want to. I would want to know my audience that this is a way they can actually support me, and a lot of your audience will be happy to do so. They're happy to support you and use those links in order to acquire, again, something that they are interested in, and also at the same time support you. Okay, so let's see, what was I talking about? Recording everything, using all the content that you have. So also, I was talking about consistency, right? So if you do just one small thing every day when you're preparing your passive income, like I said, it's something that doesn't happen over time. You do gradually build a system. You gradually kind of work your business basically with passive income. But if you just do one small thing every day, over time you can create a regular passive income that can completely support you. And your active income, like I said, it just becomes side gigs, or even if you're teaching, you get to choose how big or small your studio can be. I actually stopped teaching altogether now because it's not necessarily my biggest passion, so I'm focusing now on the things that I'm very, very passionate, and I can be selective about my active income. Oh yeah, and of course, like I mentioned before, if disasters happen, like pandemic happens, or you become ill and you're not able to work, passive income is so helpful if it's there to support you. And then I would say the last thing is try to follow monetizing trends. Just like any other trends that we do on social media, monetization also is a trend. I would say maybe every 3 to 5 months there are new opportunities for monetizing. If you are a member of your PROs like ASCAP, they send out weekly newsletters for creators that are talking about how the industry is evolving and what opportunities there are for you as a creator to create this income, create the passive income, and getting to know the industry and how it works. Stay educated, keep up with what's happening in industry. It's very helpful. Just a little bit every day. You don't have to completely devote yourself, but over time, slowly build up the understanding, slowly build up your business, slowly build up your world, basically. All right, I think that's all I have for you. Let me see if there are any other questions. At least in the US, do you need to disclose? No, I don't believe so. I do already, so I never really question it if I do. I disclose the fact that I'm using affiliate marketing. Serena asked, do you ever play freestyle without sheet music, like blues? Yes, like I said, I'm classically trained, but I love improvising and freestyling. Most of my work now, I don't even use sheet music. I try to learn everything by ear and only rely on sheet music if I have like memory slips or something like that. Pete is asking, are you still able to use your circus skills? I used to play violin on a 6-foot unicycle and work for circus and ice shows. That's amazing. Yes, I think I still will be. Like I said earlier, I am recovering from about 5-month-long illness, but I am planning on resuming my training hopefully soon, hopefully next month, and utilizing my my circus skills or my acrobatic skills. So I'm definitely hoping to come back, and the gigs that I will be doing should still involve some acrobatics. All right. Okay, you do. Stefan says you do. Okay, great. Then I'm glad I'm already doing it. Disclosing affiliate marketing. It took me a long time, but I finally achieved it. That's excellent. Wonderful. All right. Well, I think I haven't seen any other questions. I think that's all I have for you guys. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I would like to thank again the electric violin shop for having me, Matt and Duncan for putting this together. And please tune in for the next live stream. Follow the electric violin shop page. Again, they do these live streams, I believe, weekly. Always really great information. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Bye.